So is it really worth the price? Hello, welcome to Swiss Watch and welcome to another review. Today's review is very special because somebody actually requested it on my channel. I try to, fulfill the wishes of you guys as much as I can. And not too long ago, I actually put a question in the community post to ask you which brands you want to see on the channel. And Richard Mille was one of them. The amount of fame and traction Richard Mille has, for some people would think that it's an old brand, like a very established name, that's been around for generations. The fact of the matter is the watch brand firstly started in 2001 when they launched their first tourbillon watch. It was started by none other than the man himself, Mr. Richard Mille, at the age of 50 years. Since then, it's been an upwards trajectory for Richard Mille, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. Richard Mille watches are most known for this tonneau-shaped case form, and also partnering up with many celebrities in the sport field and entertainment field, and also to be part of the F1. When I think about Richard Mille and racing, the first thing that comes to mind is their partnership with McLaren and the Formula 1. A few years ago, I was actually very lucky to hold the RM010 in my hands, which I think weighs less than 40 grams. And once you see this machine in your hands, and just how ridiculously light it is, you really start to admire the brand. My favorite watches today from RM are the 5901 reference, which is the Yohan Blake with a special green composite case, and also this 4 or 5 finger shaped bridge over the dial and also on the case back, which actually represents how Yohan Blake runs, because when he runs he has open hands like this. It's really cool. Since the longest time, Richard Mille wanted to have Rafael Nadal on the team as a brand ambassador. But also what you have to know, Richard Mille wants the athletes to wear the watches while they perform their sport. Is it Formula 1 driving? Is it tennis or running? Which means the watch has to be optimized for weight and also that it doesn't bother the player. Rafael Nadal refused many times to wear a watch during playing tennis because, again, it's a precision sport and everything that bothers you can affect the results of the game. After many trials and errors, Richard Mille succeeded. And since then, they have been a very successful collaboration, and there's been many watches in the Rafael Nadal name. They also collaborate with many other people. For example, Felipe Massa is also one of the top ranking probably collaborations with Richard Mille. They made a watch recently with Pharrell Williams. They also made a watch with RM010, which has a very unique case shape and a special movement as well, and many other athletes and celebrities. For those who don't know, the entry-level Richard Milles like this one, which is the RM010, feature a washer movement, which Richard Mille specifically modifies and orders to his criterias. The high-end tourbillons and the RM010 version and the Nadal complication watches are made by APRP, which is Audemars Piguet Renault Papy, which is the same company that manufactures the Audemars Piguet concept watches, for example, just to give you a bit of a correlation. There's a lot of controversy in the independent watch world space about the price of Richard Mille watches compared to, let's say, some other independent watch brands and the amount of work they put into their watches. What I always say is that you cannot compare apples to oranges, so to speak, because the clientele of RM watches and the clientele of a high-end independent watchmaker who spends manually hundreds of hours on his watch are not the same. So it's, I think, unfair to both parties to compare it that much. But also as an end consumer, you look at many different characteristics before purchasing a watch. What I also want to commend Richard Mille is for creating a strong brand like he did. If you think about it, he is in the top 4 brands. In the top 4 brands you have Rolex, Patek, Audemars Piguet and Richard Mille. What I'm talking about is their retail prices versus their secondary market prices. There's not many brands who achieve this, let's say, luxury of having a secondary price higher than the retail price. Some brands achieve it with a few models, but the Richard Mille, practically every watch they come out with is selling above retail. And keep in mind that the brand is only 20 years old. The watch I'm going to show you guys today is the RM010. It is from the year 2008 and it's in 18 karat white gold. This watch in 2008 retailed at around 50,000 Swiss francs. The value today is upwards of 74,000 Swiss francs. If you want to know more about this specific watch in the video, check the link in the description for more information. So at the first glance you can see you have these specific and very original Richard Mille numbers, which are slightly skeletonized and also the same across the board. At 7 o'clock here you have the date window, which is vertical, not horizontal, which you're used to. And also when you push the crown out and you want to change the date, you actually can see how the whole skeletonized wheel starts moving. There's a white backdrop, so the date is more visible. What you can also notice is the skeletonized hands with Luminova tips and the seconds hand, which has like a red pointer at the end, so you can track it much easier. The dial is actually multifaceted, and also it has two crystals on it. The first sapphire crystal, covers the dial, and the lower one is actually used for the numbers and also the RM010 name and the date window. So you have two sapphire crystals, one above each other. The whole dial underneath the minute and hour hand is also a bit skeletonized and is actually titanium. As I said at the beginning, this watch features a modified washer movement that Richard Mille ordered to his specifications. And actually they made it in titanium to make it more light. You can see from the front side as well, when I turn the watch around, that it has different PVD coatings on it, which actually vary from black to grayish to a bit anthracite. From the bottom you can actually see it has an exhibition case back with a very special rotor. So what Richard Mille tries to do with his watches is to be innovative, and also to make sure that you can wear the watch in every occasion and not to babysit your watch, so to speak. That's why, for example, on the side of the case here in the corners you can see shock absorbers where the movement is actually attached to the case. This movement actually uses a variable geometry system to optimize the rotor's winding motion, meaning if you're more active with your watch or less active, they can adjust this for you by choosing the separate hole here. What's also good to know is that they use a free-sprung balance, which offers better reliability in the event of shocks, movement assembly or disassembly, and is adjusted to 5 positions. The one thing that the Richard Mille owners are most happy about is the wearability of the watches and how comfortable it is on the wrist. As you might have noticed, the whole case and the strap are bent and ergonomic. The strap is actually integrated in the case itself, and if you want to change the strap, you have to unscrew these screws. You can also see that the screws of Richard Mille watches are very specific. They are called torque screws and are made out of titanium. You need to use a special screwdriver to change the strap, which I definitely don't recommend. I advise you to go to your Richard Mille boutique. The case is also made out of 3 parts, one being the upper bezel and let's say lugs, the middle part, and also the lower part. And this is all made in white gold in this model here. What you can also see is that the crown is pretty big. It's actually really comfortable to use. It's made out of titanium and has a rubber side, which makes the grip very comfortable. Let me now put the watch on the wrist so you guys see how it fits me. What Richard Mille uses is actually a double deployant clasp, and you can see here there's the Richard Mille logo engraved on it. It's polished from the side and brushed from the top. The strap they use is rubber, very comfortable, with these let's say air intakes on the side here. From the side the case measures 13 millimeters and the diameter is 39.3 millimeters. If you measure lug to lug, you come at around 48 millimeters. Richard Mille watches have a very sporty feeling to them, and there's no surprise why they call them a racing machine on your wrist. It's very comfortable, and also I think it fits a wide variety of wrists. Mine's a bit bigger, and I also gave my guys around the office the watch to try it on, and some of them have smaller wrists, but the watch still fit perfectly because of its ergonomics. What I am very curious about is to see what you guys think about Richard Mille watches. What do you think about the price points compared to other brands? And also, what is your opinion about the retail versus resale market that exists? Also on the side, you have a photo of a watch we're going to review next. If you know which watch it is, we already reviewed this brand on the channel, so it might be a bit easier for you guys to guess it. Leave a comment down below. Also, if you're a fan of the channel, subscribe, leave a like, share with your friend, and I'll see you next time.